What up, and welcome to the pod. I'm PJ.
This is Michael.
And we're about to recap the 2018 NBA draft. So, what do you think, Michael?
I thought it was a very, very interesting draft, and I
Okay.
think there were some moves up front that a lot of people are excited to see what will happen.
Okay,
And
what-
I think there was also some predictable moves that everybody saw coming.
Okay, what are you excited to see?
I'm honestly excited to see how DeAndre Ayton plays in Phoenix.
Okay, so DeAndre Ayton went number 1 to the Suns. Obvious pick. You gotta pick him, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, now let's just go top 5 real quick. Marvin Bagley to the Kings. How we feeling on that?
I think the Kings have a lot of bigs, but I really like Marvin Bagley.
Mm-hmm.
Great player. He's a scorer.
Right.
I think they need some of that right now.
I think it's interesting what they did because, like, Bagley's a stud. You pair him up with Fox and Buddy Hield, and then Willie Cauley-Stein, like, backing him up. Like, that's an interesting young core.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting, especially with Vince still there. Like, they can, playing the 3, kind of get that veteran leadership.
Yeah.
They're still going to be trash next year, but, like, really, like, everyone's talking about all these young teams that have, like, all this, like, crazy talent, right? The Celtics and the 76ers and the Timberwolves.
And the Lakers.
Well, Lakers don't have anybody good on their team, though. But anyway, all these teams have a bunch of really good young talent. But now it's starting, like, the playing field's starting to get, like, leveled out in that regard, right? Like, the Suns now, they have, like, a big 3. Kings, they have their young core. Hawks, okay, going on to the number 3 pick. Hawks traded the 3 pick for Trae Young. What do you think of that move? Luka Doncic for Trae Young.
I like it. Now, I think Trae Young
Uh-huh.
is, we had this conversation earlier about how, there's so many point guards now that's such a, like, when it comes to, like, height-wise, that's a height, that more people are going to, able to reach.
Uh-huh.
There's so many taller point guards that are coming into the league, like, Luka
Right.
or Lonzo, and they're taller point guards where a lot of people are playing, point guards, and, I mean, he has the potential to be a great shooter.
Right.
And I like the comparison that I said to Lou Williams.
Okay.
I think worst comes to worst to see, ends up becoming a 6-man off the bench who adds us, a spark and some scoring.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a pretty good move for Atlanta, though. Yeah, they traded down, and, but they really didn't lose anything. They got another first-round draft pick because of it.
Right.
And if he doesn't pan out well next year, assuming Dallas is, in a similar situation, they basically took a chance for, minimal risk.
Right. I think the Hawks would make a really, really, really good college team. Like, great college team. I think Trae Young's gonna be. He's not gonna translate to the NBA.
You don't think so?
No, he's not a winner. Yeah, he can score and get assists again against 20-year-old kids, 19-year-old kids in college, but.
Yeah.
He's not quick enough or athletic enough to play against NBA talented point guards.
But do you think he can be
No,
even close to Curry?
no, not even
half
close.
of Curry.
Not even a little bit.
But was Curry like this in college?
No, the other thing, like Curry, his dad was one of the greatest shooters of all time. Curry grew up in the NBA. Like, there's just a different. They bred him to be an NBA talent. So, like, one of the things that makes Curry is just his mindset and his mental toughness and, like, his feel for the moment. And it's all the intangibles that you can't really place on other people. You can say, oh, like, they kind of shoot alike or they have a similar handle. But Steph Curry, it's his decision-making and the ice in his veins and all the other things that make him what makes him special. Anyway, I just think the Hawks are going to be trash forever. But anyway, we're going to move on. What's that?
Probably they will be.
Yeah. All right, we're moving on to the 4th pick. Grizzlies, Jaren Jackson Jr., power forward / center from Michigan State.
Love it.
Do you? So you like pairing him up with Marc Gasol?
So, you could say, Gasol's going to play the 5. You got Jaren who can play the 4. I think that mentorship role of, like, just a great defensive center is perfect for him.
Yeah.
Because they drafted this guy based off his defensive potential versus his offensive potential.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Conley coming back and having 2 bigs they can lob to,
Uh-huh.
I think they could be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Memphis has some growth that needs to happen, but I think that's just a great pick for Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely great.
I'm kind of indifferent. Like, again, I think it fits their need a little bit more, and like they don't want to be trash anymore. So they're like, oh, let's not draft the next best player in the draft, which is Mohamed Bamba, because we already have a center. So it's not going to go with him. But they did. They also passed on Mikal Bridges and Miles Bridges, which like to me is like those are the more talented players. Like they have more potential to be stars. I feel like Jaren Jackson's going to be like a really good role player, but he's never going to pan out to be a star. So if you have the 4th pick in the draft, why don't you go after like one of these, these players that have the potential to be like something legit?
But then, if you wanted to go for those players, would you have tried to trade down more?
No, because I feel like it could have gone anywhere. Both those guys I feel slipped, but it was kind of a weird draft, like the way things kind of panned out.
I don't know if they necessarily slipped or if that was actually a really good spot for them to be drafted.
You think so?
I do think so.
Yeah.
But I think that's a relatively safe pick. I mean, the system is not a high-scoring, crazy, pass the ball, get the wings spread out, shooting system. Is pretty much a, old-school, methodical, let's play some defense.
It was definitely a safe pick. But again, like, you have a chance at a star or like they went with the role player. But again, I think it goes with fit. Like, they don't want to be garbage anymore, right? They want to just, kick things back into gear with Marc Gasol and Conley.
Yep.
So it's like, all right, let's just plug them right in. So, interesting pick. I'm not hating it, but again, like, I think they could have got better value at that spot. All right, now Mavericks. This is interesting, right? They got Luka Doncic.
Mm-hmm.
Trading Trae Young for him.
Yep.
What do you think of this?
Well, similar to what I said with Atlanta, I think he'll be a good complement with Dennis.
Okay.
I want to say it's a somewhat win-win.
Okay.
And the reason why I want to say that is, like I said with Atlanta, you basically are probably going to draft in the same spot, depending on how well Dallas does next year. Around the same spot where you didn't really, give up a whole lot to get him.
Okay.
And it's, very minimal risk. Dallas gave up a lot.
Right.
Because if Dallas doesn't do well next year and Luka doesn't actually pan out, which a lot of Europeans do not,
right.
because it's completely different,
mm-hmm.
they basically give up 2 high, draft picks to get this player. So, I mean...
They definitely rolled the dice with this one. Yeah.
Pick, because... I mean, with that team, they really needed a big, like big time.
All right.
And this would have been a perfect pick to get Mo Bamba.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like Mo Bamba.
Right.
I mean, you got Dennis Smith, who's your point guard.
Okay.
You got Curry. You got Matthews, who can play your 2. You got Barnes at the 3. You got Dirk still, assuming he's playing at the 4.
Right.
And you got Mo Bamba at the 5.
Right. Oh, that would
That's
be
actually a pretty good defensive team.
Yeah.
Matthews has some good defense. Barnes has good defense, and then you got Mo Bamba in his defense.
Right. Which I feel like Mo Bamba has just as much potential as DeAndre Ayton or, any of these other young bigs. I mean...
Offensively, no. I don't think so.
Well, not from college, but ever since, from March April on to now, he's been working with Drew Hanlon. Mm-hmm. And at least the videos that have been coming out, he's doing work. Pretty nimble for a big guy, pretty nice looking jump shot now. If he can improve that much in 3 months, with the right training, imagine what he's going to do with a year or 2 of NBA training under his belt. Again, that paired with his size and his energy, I think he's going to be a game changer.
I really like Mo Bamba.
Yeah.
Now, if you had to give a comparison,
mm-hmm.
what player would you go with? Because off the top of my head, I feel like he's giving me a Hakeem vibe.
Okay. If he keeps working, I could see that. Right out the gate, I would say Mutombo. But if he keeps grinding like he is and refining his offensive side,
Well, his current comparison is Gobert.
Yeah,
And
which
Gobert just won Defensive Player of the Year.
I completely disagree. I think he's already better than Gobert.
I think so, just because Gobert is not exactly offensive minded. I mean,
Right.
Gobert's defense is fantastic. We're not going to discredit that.
Right,
We
right.
can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Obama has fantastic defense, like you said. If he
Right.
continues to work on his offense,
Mm-hmm.
he could be a fantastic player.
Absolutely.
Because how do you guard somebody? He has a 7'10" wingspan.
That's unreal.
Did you see that clip of him with that one dunk he had?
Which is,
I mean, he basically
Yeah.
went over the backboard and backed down.
yeah.
I don't think anybody can block him.
Yeah.
If he goes straight up like that.
I like him a lot. Bummer he went to Orlando.
I don't like him going to Orlando.
However, if you're Orlando, you got to take him there.
Absolutely.
Right.
You can always trade him a year from now.
Yeah. So they going on to the Magic. They're in an interesting situation because they have so many bigs. But again, like you got to take Bob at the, with that if he's still available. So him with Frank Vogel and the talent that they have, they need to start making some moves, like dealing some of these bigs.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were to revolve the whole thing around Bamba, I think they have something to work with. They've got a great coach.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a great big that can really anchor their defense. And again, if he starts polishing his offense, you can start, working that out. He could be like Dwight 2.0.
So do you see a potential trade then come trade deadline for Nikolai Vucevic, or however you say his last name?
Yeah, if anybody wants him. I wouldn't be surprised if they dealt him. I wouldn't be surprised if they dealt
Bismack.
Again, I feel like none of those guys, all those guys are on the table. If they can re-sign Aaron Gordon, that's huge. I think he's a restricted free agent.
I believe so.
Anyway, you keep Aaron Gordon. They have their pick from last year that you could deal
The guy
because
from Florida State.
yeah, dude, nice, tall power forward who can stretch the floor.
Isaacs. That's
Yeah.
his name. Isaac.
Yeah. I like him a lot, but you've got him as trade bait. So obviously you got to bring in some playmaking guards that can get the ball to these guys.
Yes.
But it's a nice little base. And again, with that 6th pick, you can't fault them for that.
Absolutely not. It's a safe pick.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's our top 6 right now. We don't necessarily need to go into every single pick, but let's take this into who do you think won the draft? Phoenix, hands down, right?
Absolutely.
You get the best player in the draft, and then you make that trade for Mikal Bridges, which great move, right?
Oh, absolutely. Pair him with Jackson.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And then obviously, they've got
Harden 2.0 and Booker.
you're right. Yeah, Suns again. Back what I was saying with all these like young teams or teams with all this young talent. Like Suns are going to be up there, Kings are going to be up there, right up there with the Sixers and the Celtics and Minnesota. So yeah, Suns won the draft. Who lost the draft?
Off the top of my head, I want to say the Clippers.
100% agree.
And the reason why is you basically traded down to draft the same player that you could have gotten.
Yeah.
And that just, I don't know. I don't think it really makes any sense.
Uh-huh.
And they took players that they don't need when they're obviously better players on the board.
Mm-hmm.
And with the 13th, pick, that's perfect spot for Porter.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you're picking back to back.
Mm-hmm.
And if Porter doesn't pan out, it was worth the risk.
Yeah.
You have very little to lose. I mean, you obviously love that style of player because that was Blake Griffin.
Right.
And I think they really, they messed up on not getting him on that pick.
Yeah, Clippers are interesting because they got Jerry West last year, which you can't argue with Jerry West. So obviously these moves make zero sense to me. However, you've got the great Jerry West who's working the strings so maybe he sees something that nobody else does. However, you've got 2 picks in a row, so you can afford to take a chance on Michael Porter Jr. Why wouldn't you? He's the potential face of a franchise. And yeah, he's had his back issues. but he's a stretch four who can hit the three ball, and like, let's say his athleticism is stunted a little bit, and he's not everything he was before. He's still probably the best shooting four in this draft,
Absolutely.
which is huge, right? And if you have back-to-back picks, you can afford to take a gamble on him. That being said, they drafted Miles Bridges. If you had Miles Bridges and Michael Porter Jr. with DeAndre Jordan and all the talent that they have around them,
Patrick.
Exactly.
Avery.
Tobias Harris still. They've got a lot
Murray.
they've got a lot of nice role players, or even like players that you could package in for potential deals. If you have a chance to get a franchise player, why would you pass two opportunities in a row on more role players?
Yeah. And I mean, the specific trade was trading Miles Bridges and 2 future second-round picks to get the player that was drafted above him.
Yeah.
Which is a point guard.
Mm-hmm. Who's going to be all right? Like he's
not the move.
No.
That's not the move. And there's so many different point guards. I mean, Patrick Beverly was all defensive first team.
Right. And thing is, he's a good pick. He's a good point guard, but in a league that's full of just superstar point guards, he's got good size to him, but is he really a game changer? You could do that, especially if you had franchise guys with a young price tag on them because you've got the all-in rookie contracts. You could persuade a free agent point guard to come your way. You could go out and get a Rajon Rondo or a Eric Bledsoe or somebody. Clippers totally messed up the draft. Super bummed on them. Thought they totally screwed it up. All right, so that gives us the win of the draft, the loss of the draft. Let's talk about sleepers. Obviously, Michael Porter at 14. He slipped quite a bit. But who else are you interested in seeing?
So, I think the sleeper of this draft is Robert Williams.
Okay.
Now, most mock drafts had him projected to the Clippers.
Okay.
So this guy's a 6'9" power forward / center out of Texas A&M.
Right.
He's basically a more aggressive Al Horford minus some of the passing abilities.
Right.
I think that's exactly what Boston needs.
Oh, yeah.
Boston needs a more, I guess, durable center who's able to play small ball.
Right.
And this guy is perfect for that. And he slipped to the 27th spot, which is kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of, kind of commitment issues that was part of the reason why he slipped in the draft.
Right.
Which could be kind of risky, but I don't know a better spot than going to Boston to fix those issues.
Right.
You got such a young team around you. You got such disciplined Brad Stevens.
Right.
Such a great spot.
I think it was a good pick for a great team with an upcoming need. You get him on the cheap rookie contract. Great moving forward. And again, like with the whole motivation issue, like you got Brad Stevens, who tends to get the best out of his players, and you're in a winning situation for a historic franchise. Great pickup for them. Again, like even if he doesn't pan out, 27th pick, great pick. I think Lonnie Walker to the Spurs is my interesting pick. Dude is so athletic. And he's got so much potential. I know he's had the knee issues, but still, like meniscus is pretty minor on the scale of knee issues. Real interesting to see what happens with the whole Kawhi situation. With Kawhi gone, depending whether or not they drop Lonnie down to the G League or not, because the Spurs tend to throw their rookies in the G League. If they were to actually let him loose, I think he's got a lot of potential to do a lot of damage. Because again, assuming Kawhi is gone, you're going to need a playmaker, right? You're going to need someone who can go and create some offense and create some plays. And they just don't have that on their roster right now. And this guy could be that for him. So like the question's his defense, but with his athleticism, and he's a smart guy with a good head on his shoulders, I'm sure Pop could get him to play a little D. Love pairing him up with DeJounte Murray, too. really interesting core moving forward. Even if Kawhi was to stay, you have him next to Kawhi. I think that could be a nice little 1-2 punch. Nice little pick at the 18th spot. All right, who do you think is going to have the best career?
So right off the bat, you kind of have to go with the obvious one because he was the number 1 overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
Now, DeAndre Ayton doesn't have any injury issues.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're a center that can play defense and offense,
Yeah.
and you're getting comparisons to David Robinson,
Right.
you have to assume right now that guy has the potential to be one of the best players in the
Right.
draft.
Especially when he's all in on Phoenix too.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, so you don't have to worry about like motivation issues. Like, he knows the situation and he's pumped about it.
Absolutely.
I agree. DeAndre Ayton's going to have a great career. Marvin Bagley, great career. Luka Doncic. That's the interesting situation there, right? Historically, foreign players don't tend to pan out the way everyone assumes that they're going to be. However, this guy's done things that other foreign players have not done. He won the EuroLeague MVP at age 19. I think he reminds me of a Ginobili.
Okay.
He's a winner. He's a scorer. He can make plays. He's just crafty. If that's his upside, if he could turn into a Manu Ginobili, I think he could be huge. Absolutely huge. That's like he could be the franchise guy that the Mavericks need. And like them trading a future first round pick for him, again, they're not planning on being bad for very long. If they can kickstart this thing, sign a good free agent, have Harrison Barnes play, a healthy, strong season, have Wesley Matthews play a strong season, extract whatever else you can get out of Dirk. Dennis Smith Jr. with a year under his belt. That could potentially be a pretty good situation. And again, like if he pans out, I think he could have a really, really good career. That being said, his athleticism is a question mark, and again, foreign players don't tend to translate very well to the NBA. But I think he's going to be just fine. Jaren Jackson, I do not think is going to be a top 5 player in this draft. I think Mohamed Bamba is. I'm really high on him. I wouldn't be surprised if he turned out better than DeAndre Ayton. Just based on
defensively, I think so, but overall,
I don't know. Again, like
Ayton's just so polished. He's a lot bigger.
Right. I'm just falling in love with his workout footage with Drew Hanlon. Again, like as big as he is, developing the footwork he's developing, his shot looks, fairly effortless. I think he's going to have himself a great career. It's on Orlando to surround him with some pieces to actually do something. And for my number 5, I'm going with Michael Porter Jr.
Okay.
I think the back issues, they're going to put it behind him, especially with him sitting a year for the Nuggets, because they're potentially going to sit him for a year. If dude gets another year of rest under his belt, I think he'll be fine. So anyway, those are my top 5: Ayton, Bags, Doncic, Mo Bamba, and Michael Porter Jr.
All right, to round out my 5.
Okay.
No order after Ayton.
Okay.
Specifically, I agree with you.
Okay.
I really like Mo Bamba.
Okay.
I think Mo Bamba is going to be fantastic.
Uh-huh.
I do think a player that a lot of people aren't talking about is Colin Sexton.
Okay.
Now, this guy's a straight-up competitor, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my number 3 guy.
Okay.
Part of me wants to say Porter. Part of me doesn't want to say Porter.
Okay.
Just because, like you said, it really comes down to the skill set's there, everything's there, but being healthy. Once you're prone to injury, it just kind of occurs more often. Your body's in like a weakened state.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's a young guy, and to have back surgery at that age is huge.
Right.
He's tall, so naturally he's going to have a little, his knees might have some issues.
Right.
If he could stay healthy, absolutely can be a top 5 player.
Right.
Absolutely.
The back thing was kind of a freak injury, and the fact that he doesn't have a huge, injury history other than the back thing. Again, backs are no joke, but it's not like you got this big guy with terrible knees or feet. He's got that freak injury. So again, if he can rest up, I think he'll be all right. All right, who's your fifth?
I'm gonna go with Jaren Jackson.
Oh, really?
And the reason why is I just feel like he's such a safe pick.
Uh-huh.
And I always stress this with you specifically.
Uh-huh.
Is he's the youngest player in the draft, or one of the youngest players in the draft.
Right.
And being that young, being able to get re-taught
Right.
is huge. Because some of these other players are a couple of years older than him.
I like that. Yeah.
And, I mean, you got an athletic big man with a 7'6" wingspan.
Uh-huh.
He shoots 40 from deep.
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting a couple blocks a game.
Hmm.
He's a big dude.
Right.
Low post dominance.
Mm-hmm.
Gasol's a perfect mentor for him.
Right.
I think Grizzlies will build around him.
Yeah. Interesting, man. Well, all in all, I think the draft class as a whole is going to be pretty solid. Again, I don't think I don't think the top 5 are in the same category as any of these other historic drafts. It's not going to be as good as the LeBron James draft or the Jordan draft. However, this may be the most well-rounded draft that we've seen. Because again, there's 20 guys in here that can all potentially hold their own and do pretty well in this league. Again, I don't know how many stars are in this draft. 3, maybe 4 guys. But from a high-end role player standpoint, I think there's a lot of guys that can do a lot of work in the NBA. So all in all, it should be pretty interesting. Last thing I want to touch on, Greek Freak's brother, Kostas Antetokounmpo, trade to the Mavs. What do we think about him?
If he's anything like his brother, it's a pretty good pick.
He's good, bro.
So he's Mr. Irrelevant.
Right.
And that's basically the pick that he was.
22 years old, a little bit older than some of these guys. Great size. Again, you pair him up with some of these good trainers and elite, staff. Could be pretty interesting. And Mark Cuban already talked about, he went out and got him as trying to sign his brother when his brother's a free agent. So I thought that was an interesting move, just from a general management standpoint. It would be interesting. I would like to see him come out of nowhere and turn into Greek Freak.
Superstar.
You right?
Freak.
Yeah.
2.0.
Last pick of the second round.
Or
That'd be
maybe
dope.
bring Giannis to Dallas.
Yeah. Crazy, right? Can you imagine both those guys? Kostas turns into mini Giannis. They sign Giannis. Have Doncic doing work. And you've got Dennis Smith Jr. May re-sign a Nerlens Noel.
I like Noel.
Dude.
But I don't think they re-signed him because they offered him a nice contract.
Right.
He wanted more money.
I
think the relationship soured a little bit.
Right.
But if you can get him to come back, absolutely. You get a defensive center. I mean, that guy, when he plays, is an absolute stud.
Yeah. Interesting moves on the table. Again, Dallas doing some sneaky things. We'll see if these things pan out for him. However, I'm excited to see how that all plays out. Anyway, that's all I have for the draft. Any final?
Nope. I think that's pretty much it.
All right. Well,
Free agency will be the next exciting thing, and maybe some of these players that were drafted will not be there anymore, as they'll be used for enticing and maybe some future trades.
well, right on. Well, until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Out.
Peace.